My name's Mike Ellis. I have a problem. I rescue, refurbish, restore and revitalise vintage drums, in particular Premier drums. In this programme I'll share with you my adventures, ups and downs, ins and outs, triumphs and tragedies as I lavish some TLC on vintage British drums. Welcome to the Drum Fettler.
Well, it's full-on head Fettle Factor 9 here at Fettling Towers. Yes, we're reaching the conclusions of two of the big projects, two of the lovely projects. Firstly, the yellow kit, the legend kit, the rock kit, that's nearly finished, so all being well, we'll have that done today. But also, we're going to be finishing off the P1, the Blue Sparkle P1. If you remember, we've got to get the inner liner in, and we've got the lovely red felt here, as you can see, to go and replace this, the old rather knackered liner, which was painted white by some idiot. But anyway, we'll move on. But first, let's catch up with the yellow kit, and if you remember, we hadn't quite put the badge on the 12-inch, so that's being rectified right now. Excellent. Right, well that's the badge on the 12-inch done, which is rather nice. Now, well, yes, we're on to the 10-inch now, which is the last one to be done, and that means we can then set the kit up once we've got all the hardware, which I know it's on its way. Excellent. Well, let's get on with the 10-inch, shall we? Here we go. Wrap all cut in place. Ready to start getting some lugs on. Now I'm just going to give the lugs a quick polish before we fit them. Right, we're all done. That's the 10-inch finished. So we've got the whole family together now. We've got the 10-inch, the 12-inch, 13-inch, 14-inch, 16-inch. The 18-inch is in its own little quilt cover there, as is the 24-inch bass drum, all nice and warm, protected from the dust that proliferates here in the Drum Fettler's lair. So all that remains now is for us to set the kit up. But first, this. Now then, the P1, as you will recall, it's ready for its inside woody bendy thingy bit inside, which is already cut from in the last episode. But before we do that, I've got to find a badge for this here all. So I needs to be a mid-80s, and it has to be a plinth badge, as you will remember. So let's see what we've got in the wondrous box of badges. See if we've got anything. So, oh, hello. There we go. That's exactly what I need. Right badge, it's in pretty good nick. Yes, that'll do nicely. There we go. Right badge, just need to tidy up the back of the grommet, the vent a little bit. A bit tatty, a bit raggedy. But yes, that's the badger. Yep, I think that'll do. Great stuff. I suppose better think about the inner liner and that little bit of red felt that needs to go on it as well. Have you figured out whose the yellow kit is yet? You haven't? Well, maybe it's time we told you. Big day today. The yellow kit gets collected and it's going to get delivered to its lovely owner. Now, if you haven't guessed already, the kit in question is the original kit that was used by the very legendary John Coghlan of Status Quo in 1981 or thereabouts, on the What You're Proposing tour, I think it was called. Anyway, we've rescued it. It's been spruced up, re-wrapped, fettled, tickled, and it looks absolutely fabulous. And today, here's drum tech Russ is coming to collect it. So I've just got a few little tinkery bits to do, last minute checks just to make sure everything is tip top in Bristol fashion, and then it can go off, and hopefully John will be very pleased with it and he'll enjoy playing it. And I do believe it's going to feature rather heavily at the Status Quo convention. Now, that should be fun. In fact, it should be so much fun. I'm going to go! Yes! The Drum Fettler is going to go to the Status Quo convention and get in everyone's way and ask stupid questions. So watch out for that in a later edition of the Drum Fettler. Now, the P1 is notable for a number of unique magical features, one of which is the red felt that's fitted to the inside of the inner liner, inside the sound chamber. So what we need to do now is get some lovely new red felt and get it fitted to the liner before we put the liner back in the drum. Well, that's the inner liner done. It's got its red felt inner now, so all I need to do is slot that into the shell. We'll do that a bit later, I think. Let's go back to the yellow kit. Okay, Russ Jones drum tech is here. We've checked all the drums over, made sure all the last minute checks and everything. Russ is now out in the yard putting on the new heads, so let's go and have a look, see what he's getting up to. Watching the master at work here. Drum assemblage with Russ. It's a new pilot. Well, it's all going swimmingly, apart from a little bit of panic with the 10-inch where we've had to dig around the darker depths of the fettle there to find a 10-inch hoop that would fit properly.
Panic's over though.
Panic's over.
We found something suitable.
We've found the right thing. And if it's going to be worth doing, it's got to be done right, eh?
Absolutely.
Tremendous. Well, how's that then?
I hope that's how he remembers it.
It looks like it. He should do, because it is it. It's just spruced up. Brilliant. The yellow kit is a Soundwave kit. What's a Soundwave kit, I hear you ask?
What's a Soundwave kit?
Let's find out and take a quick look at the history. In 1978, Premier launched a Soundwave range of drums in what appeared to be a radical departure for the company. Premier were known for their die-cast hoops and flush-braced, high-tension lugs, but Soundwave was fitted with single-tension lugs and pressed steel hoops. However, it was not the first time the company had made drums this way. Premier had been making Beverley drums since the late 1950s, which had steel hoops and single lugs and were marketed as American-style drums. In the 1970s, these drums were badged with the red Premier P and sold exclusively in the USA as the 6000 series. They also made the similarly configured Super Olympic and Hammer drums briefly from 1976. Appearing in 1977, the Super Olympic range sported all the usual Premier refinements. However, the following year, the Super Olympic brand was no more, and the drum line moved up in the world, getting the red P badge and the name Soundwave, along with a unique waveform logo sticker on the front of the bass drum. The range of sizes was gradually expanded over the years, and in 1982 a new generation of Soundwave drums was launched with undersized shells for greater sustain and tuning clarity. The Soundwave line was dropped around 1984.
We can now go direct to deepest equatorial Oxfordshire for a full report from Russ, John Coughlin's drum tech, on the drum kit as John has received it. So let's see what he thinks.
Hi, this is Russ Jones, and what you're looking at is a 1981 Premier Soundwave kit that's just been restored by Mike Ellis at Blenheim Drums. And I'm very proud to introduce the legend that is John Coughlin, who played with Status Quo from the mid-60s right through to 1981. And this particular drum kit, he played on his last tour with Status Quo in 1981, the Never Too Late tour. And what we've actually got here is the tom that John actually kept back. So this kit was lost for years and years and years. Today we're reuniting the kit with the tom that John kept back, which is a 14-inch tom. So tell us a little bit about this this tom and the kit, John.
Yeah, Premier said to me many years ago, we want to give you a kit, you know, I can't remember the exact words, but they said, what colour would you like? And for some reason I said yellow, and I don't know why, because everyone thought it might be green, my favourite colour for reasons of the, you know, Military Vehicle Trust. Anyway, then they said, oh, okay, and I think they weren't too sure, but they did a fantastic job. And it is so nice really to see this kit again, and do you know, I didn't realise how big it was, because at the moment I use a different kit, but anyway, this is superb, and also it is really been, you know, looked after and cleaned up, and it is beautifully tuned, and it was so nice to be reunited with it, really.
Yeah, it's this is the biggest kit you used in Quo, because I mean, the only two things missing, there's two things missing from this kit. Can you remember what they are?
One's a cowbell. Oh, the gong. Everyone was using gongs, yeah. Yeah, that's not here, but oh, of course, yes. And the timpani, which
would have lived there next to the extra toms. So you would
Yeah.
have had the timps
Yeah.
to your left
That's right.
and the gong behind.
But we don't have that, so basically...
We don't have a van big enough to carry it.
They'd an Arctic. But it, you know, really, man, it is so nice to see this kit. In fact, I might get some sticks and I might just
Why not?
play it. Yeah, this kit, as you notice, is quite a few tom-toms. These days I don't use as many, I only use, you know, two. But we used two here for a track called Don't Drive My Car, which was like this. And there was also... noticed there's a hole in the bass drum. Well, I never do that these days, but I suppose in those days, in the 70s, the sound engineer liked to have the front head taken off and put a mic in there, but you know, it sounded great at the time. Just Supposing was another track that we recorded. Francis wrote that, I think, and I copied the drum parts that he put on the initial idea, which was tired now. Yeah, lovely kit. It is awesome, mate, and it's been tuned by a great character who's tuned it, and it is so nice to see this kit again. And yeah, I just think a job well done, and it's a great kit made by Premier Drums. And also, you probably noticed the cymbals are pasty, which I did use when I was with the band, and I think they're 202s. Yeah, they are. Then this one's a nice ride. And that's the other one. That's not from that same company.
Well, he seemed jolly pleased with that, don't you think? Yes. If he's pleased, I'm happy. Great job. Well, as I said, we've got the Status Quo convention coming up, so I'll be going along to that as well. Hopefully I'll see it in action, and we'll bring you a full report in a later edition of the Drum Fettler. But before we leave the subject of John and Status Quo, I was reminded the other night when I was reflecting whilst languishing in my man cave that when I was a very young chap, I worked part-time at a hotel. I guess I was about 17 or 18 at the time, but it was actually at the time of that kit. It was that tour, and the Quo stayed at the hotel where I worked for 4 nights. And I can remember the boss of the hotel, and he said, "You there, Ellis? You're a rock and roll Johnny, aren't you? We've got these Quo status people coming to stay. I want you to look after them, be their point man, and make sure they get everything they need, because they're going to be different hours. Because basically, they would have breakfast at 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then another meal, and then go to the gig, and then come back, and then be in the bar until who knows when. So my whole day was shifted, and I started work at 3 in the afternoon and finished at 3-4 in the morning. Yes, it still makes me feel a bit dizzy, and I think I need to lie down just remembering it. Yeah, it was quite an experience, I can tell you. Remember, Rick Parfitt kept calling me Herbert, despite my protestations, but I don't know. But the other thing I do remember quite distinctly was the drum tech at the time stole the axe from the suit of armour that was standing in the hotel reception, and he was wandering around with this big axe. I was told to retrieve the axe by crusty old bossman, but I never managed to get it back. But funnily enough, it reminds me, I had a similar experience in Germany when I was teching for Gavin Harrison, when I woke up one morning in a hotel, and in my room with me was a 4-foot scimitar, the King Arthur type sword thing. Apparently I turned up at the bar, this was I think it was our only night of indulgence in the whole 6 weeks whilst we were out on tour, and I just turned up at some point with this sword, and it went back to my room with me, where I left it. Now all that remains is to finish off the Project 1. Okay, that's the liner in. Really nice tight fit, tighter than a gnat's chuff. Right, I'll just leave that to dry and give it a few more coats. Well, that's looking quite fabulous. It smells great as well. Yes. Right, let's get the heads on. Right, I think we're done. It's all done. It's got its proper bus control snare wires on the bottom. There's a little microphone hole with a lovely rubber grommet. You can't go wrong with a bit of rubber around your hole. Well, that's it. That is Mr. Project 1, done and dusted and finished. Thank you so much. Well, how fabulous was that episode? Absolutely brilliant. Got the yellow kit done, dusted and delivered. We've finished the P1. Right, well, that's it for this edition of the Drum Fettler. Join us on the next one where we'll have some new projects to work on.